All right, let's get rolling. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be when you see this. My name is Justin Meyer. I own and run Midwest Mealworms in Ashland, Missouri, and this is my weekly, if not bi-weekly, update in the new format that I'm going to use moving forward. What you're looking at here is just a very simple spreadsheet that I threw together of all the different projects, tasks, things that need to happen in the mealworm farm in order to get to this goal of 2 million harvested mealworms per month. And let's go ahead and update this 2 million harvested live mealworms because my primary business is selling those live mealworms. And that's actually a good example of the types of things that are going to happen in the early part of this as I get rolling with this new content process. So I'm going to make edits to this as we go, and then we'll get into a pretty standard routine and an update process. But the goal of this document you're seeing here is selfishly for me to keep things organized. Everything has just been up in my head, and I've kind of been jumping around from thing to thing to thing that needs to happen in order for me to achieve this goal of 2 million harvested live mealworms per month. So my goal with this particular series is to create playlists so that it can all be organized. You guys can see it easier. And then to do a weekly or every 2-week update going through this document of what's primary or what's active. So there's going to be a bunch of stuff that'll end up in a parking lot essentially because I'm only one person. I can only do so much during the week. And so what I'd like to do is eventually have some sort of prioritization in this so that we can talk through what's active, like the frass organization or frass movement that I'm working through and we'll talk about today, versus some of the other things that kind of continue to move but aren't primary as far as things that I need to spend my time on. This is in addition to just working in the farm. So standard tasks like hydrating, feeding, harvesting, etc. These are things on top of that. And so selfishly, this is for me to organize, throw out there, and keep folks just updated in general as we move towards this goal of 2 million harvested live mealworms per month. The final goal for that is to then take that blueprint that's there, which includes different sifting processes, different collection processes, different tools, things like that. Get that and just publish it out there so that if you want to start, if you want to start a mealworm farm, we've got something to build off of rather than just a lot of nothing that's out there from a business perspective. So let's get rolling. This spreadsheet you're seeing here, the road to 2 million mealworms, this is a very rough draft. So I just started throwing this together. The project manager in me wants to clean it up and make it pretty, but that's not my primary focus. And it's not something I'm really worried about because it's just for me. So if anyone has any thoughts on that layout or what needs to be added, removed, etc., please let me know. One of the things I do want to add to this is a prioritization column. Let's just go ahead and get that in there right now. And I am on a laptop without a mouse or a keyboard, so things are going to look rather rough as I maneuver there. Prioritization. Oh man, can't spell. Well, I can spell, I just couldn't type. So I'll get that squared away. My main priority right now is frass management. And so we'll talk through that. I've got some pictures and ideas of what I'm going to be doing. I'm curious what you guys think of that. The other thing I want to do is review harvested data. So very quickly on the road to 2 million mealworms document here, I've broken it down into the things that are causing me time and labor so that I can optimize those and then take that time and devote it to other things within the farm. That will allow me to scale. So for example, what I'm running into now is I need a better sifter, better, and by better, I mean bigger, better dust control, and operational. The one I have now is fantastic for what I needed to get here, but it's not going to allow me to keep this sustainable, working 40 or less hours a week and not just expending all of my energy and being absolutely exhausted in the evening. It's a lot of physical labor, which is good, but it's a little too much. And so I need a better sifter. I'm working through that. That's down here in the harvesting section. But the other thing that I really need to work on is frass management and movement within the farm. So right now I am literally taking 27-gallon totes and moving them manually, and then scooping and filling bags, and it's not going to work, because once I get to 3,000 pounds of frass a month, I can't physically sustain that in an efficient way. And so I'm going to walk through that. I've got some pictures that I'm going to talk about different ideas I have, but that's the primary one. There's some other things in here as well that need to be prioritized, and I'll talk through those in the future as I start hitting on them. But today's topic is frass management. Let's quickly touch on harvest data. So each week I'm going to go through the harvest data for the current snapshot of where we're at, so that we can see where we're at on that road to 2 million. And in the month of March, I've got 1.29 million. It was a good month, and you can see putting this data from paper into digital. I was able to put this nice graph in. Shout out to Leo, one of my former teammates. He put an Excel doc together for me that had this. Super grateful to be able to go grab that and use it here. And you can see in January, very low numbers, very, very low. A couple things happened there. One, I was in the middle of the expansion construction, so I did most of that myself. I had a little bit of help with the drywall. Excuse me. I did have a drywall person come and mud and tape and install, which was very, very helpful. And then I had a few other odd things that I had some help with. But I think that a lot of that low number there was a result of just not paying attention to the standard things in the farm that need to happen. There's also an interesting thing happening with hydration. I'll talk about that in at another time. But we're on a good path here, because both February and March have seen increases. And this 1 million and above is really like the baseline of where I was before the expansion. And so being able to see that above that 1 million gives me a lot of joy here that we're on a good path. So things are looking good. At some point, I'll probably review some of the previous data, because I do have that available all the way back to 2020. But again, our main focus today is the frass management. So let's jump into that right now. So one of the things that I need to work through is handling frass in larger quantities, because right now, prior to this year, I was producing about 1,000 pounds a month. And so that gets down to 250 pounds a week, which isn't that big of a deal from a movement perspective. One of the 27-gallon containers, the plastic ones, those standard black totes with yellow lids that people use, one of those holds about 70 pounds of frass. Not too big of a deal to slide that around, move it around. And so 250 pounds is 2, 4, 5, 6 of those a week, roughly. And so not the end of the world to take that and then package it up into 30-pound bags, 10-pound boxes, things like that. This, though, is an example of where I'm going to be in the future. So this was several months of frass collected and put together for a customer. It's 3,000 pounds total, 750 pounds in each one of these super sacks. And what will happen is 4 of these will be produced every month in the mealworm farm once I get to optimal production in the expanded space. So I have to figure out how to move 3,000 pounds or 750 pounds a week. 3,000 pounds a month, 750 a week. I can't do that manually. It's not going to happen. And so what I'm looking at doing is exploring an option to use a chore-time augur and walk through being able to move that from the collection area up into an elevated tote. And so what I'm talking about from a tote perspective is one of these IBC totes. I believe this one is a 275. It might be a 330. I honestly don't know off the top of my head right now. I can't tell from the picture. But what I want to do is, you can see there's a hole in the top of this. On the bottom of this, I'm going to put basically a mini auger so that I can fill out of it. Okay. And that's me in the hazmat suit, been testing that. I'll talk about that in the future at some point. What I'm going to do is, you can see these black totes here. So the new sifter that I'm working on will have a collection bucket at the bottom, similar to what I'm using today. And then it will have a chore-time auger setup connected to the bottom of it. And so that chore-time auger is going to be connected into this white pipe, and then it's going to go up. This is a 30-degree pipe. It's going to go up, and then there's a 10-foot pipe, I believe that is, that goes up. And this is just an example of up and out of the mealworm room. So it will go from an 80-degree Fahrenheit room into whatever outside temperature is. And that's one of the things I need to think through. Is that okay? Or am I going to have to insulate this a little bit so that the pipe doesn't condense any moisture? But you can see that pipe comes out here. And what I'd like to do is put that IBC tote elevated into this area here. And so these two freezers are going to move out of the way. This wheat bran pallet here is going to move out of the way, and there will just be an elevated IBC tote here. There's enough clearance for that IBC tote to get in without blocking the electric panel here. And so what I need to look at is the motor for that chore-time is going to be mounted somewhere up here, higher than the IBC tote. And so I might need a little bit more pipe. But the goal here is to get that frass out and into that IBC tote here. And then as that IBC tote fills, if I have orders come in for 5 30-pound bags, I can go out and I can use the mini auger that's connected to the bottom of that tote to run and fill bags, or fill up one of those giant IBC totes and then store those IBC totes. That way I'm not physically having to scoop and fill and lift and move all this stuff around. And so this is the let's see, east side of the building. Here's the west side of that area. So those were those IBC totes we saw before. I do have this metal warehouse racking. It doesn't fit long ways in that previous picture. It doesn't fit on this wall. It's too large. I could get a smaller one, but what I'll probably do is build something sturdy with some wood to elevate that IBC tote. And then figure out a way to, I'll probably have one of these IBC totes on pallets that has wheels, so that I can move that around. I'll need some beefier wheels than the wheel you're seeing here. But the goal will be to take that IBC tote, fill it take the super sack, fill it from the IBC tote as my frass builds up. So let's pretend it doesn't get sold, right? Or I'm stocking up for a larger order. I'll just start filling these super sacks and then moving them into storage. Storage is probably going to be a shipping container with doors that open on the side, the long side, not the ends. That way I can put first in, first out from a frass perspective without too much movement or management. This is the inside of the building. On that, you can see the super sacks here. And one of the things that I'm thinking about is along with the storage underneath here, one of the other things I need to think about from a management perspective is the wheat bran or substrate movement. And so right now I'm moving 50-pound bags. It's becoming laborious because I'm going through more volume, but I need a more efficient way to fill the trays that I'm working on. So I'm thinking through an option there that involves a hoist to lift up things, or an auger system to fill an elevated, basically a grain silo, but not a big one. But the frass management is what I want to try to focus on as the primary decision here. And so the other thought I had is if I put that chore-time auger somewhere in this area and pipe it out, the problem is that it comes out too far into the room. And so that's why I was hugging the wall. So let's go back to the previous picture here. So the intent with this would be, I've got the sifter located somewhere over here. As it sifts, the frass goes down into one of these containers, and then the chore-time auger cranks it and moves it out. This will probably hug the back wall so that it's against that back wall and not out. It doesn't get knocked. I can secure it to that wall. And then it'll come outside here. The motor is going to be somewhere up in here. Again, where that pipe's going to come out. And so my thought there is that way I can wire it on its own breaker and have an on-off switch, potentially remote controlled, so that I can, while I'm sifting, I'm not quite sure yet how quick it's going to move that frass. And so I don't know if I need to let it build up or if it can run while the frass is going. We'll see. But my thought is that I'm going to have to turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, because it should move pretty quickly. But we'll see. What do you guys think of that so far? One of the things that I'm concerned about is weighing these super sacks as I fill them. And so I believe that IBC Tote can hold over 500 pounds of frass from a volume perspective. Weight-wise, it'll be fine. But from a volume perspective, I believe it can do that. The other thought I have is instead of that IBC Tote, we just elevate a super sack up here and let it get filled by that chore-time auger, and then use some sort of, the conveyor or mini auger isn't going to be able to connect to that securely, right? Which is why I wanted to use the IBC Tote. But what could potentially happen is I take a super sack here, hoist it up, raise it up with an electric hoist, let it fill, then hoist it down, put it onto a pallet and move it around. One of the things that I'm limited on is I don't have access to this all the time. So right now I have access to a Kubota tractor that can lift 660 pounds. And so my current thought is that instead of filling these super sacks up to 750 pounds, I'll fill them to 500 so that I can use that tractor, which is on site. I can, anytime I need to go grab that, I can, unless it's in use. And so 500 pounds, I'm comfortable picking that up, moving it, and getting it out of there. And then I'll have to go through, if somebody wants to order 750 pounds or order multiple sizes or multiple pallets worth, it makes sense from a shipping perspective to combine that. Like you don't want to ship 6 pallets of 500. You can ship 4 pallets of 750 for a 3,000 pound order and save on shipping, right? You can also potentially double stack these. So I'm researching that. But worst case, if I fill them at 500 and I need to get them to 750, then it'll be just a lifting, open the bottom of that sack to let that frass come out and weigh. I'll probably have to get a pallet weigher so I can do all that accurately, because I don't want to guesstimate. So that's kind of where I'm at right now from a frass management perspective. If you have any thoughts on that, definitely let me know. Let's sneak back over here to our list. That's the primary one that I'm working through. And so what I'm doing now is that's taking some brain power, that's taking some physical work, but I've also got a bunch of other things that I'm working on. For example, like beetle swap is taking far too long at this point with 150 trays. So I'm going to wean that down a little bit, but I'm also looking again at the Beacon Camp beetle inserts. They may be at this point cost effective, and it's just a matter of getting those or building them myself. So I'm just waiting on an updated quote. But there's a lot of other things here that as we have more of these updates, I'll go through that and get things squared away, keep things moving. So this was our goal to 2 million harvested live mealworms per month update. If you have any questions, suggestions, please leave them in the comments or shoot me an email, justin@midwestmealworms.com. Thank you very much.